Is this you? With this silverware drawer insert, you'll be able to safely pull forks and knives out of your drawer and have storage space beneath them. Let's go to the shop! First, I took everything out of the drawer. Then I measured the basic dimensions of the inside. I measured a pile of forks and spoons to get their height, length, and width. This gave me the height that I would need for the insert and the support rails. I used parallel projection in SketchUp for this, which is really good for templates because it removes all of the perspective from the image. Once I had all the measurements, I went to the shop. I started by planing a bunch of lumber to 1/4 inch, which is the thickness of all my walls. Then I ripped some 1/8 inch plywood to the width of the drawer using my table saw. A manufactured wood product like plywood is much better for the base, so there are no issues with wood movement because it's very stable. I had to use 2 pieces because I didn't have a piece large enough for this drawer. First, I waxed up the bottom of my crosscut sled so it slides well. And then I used the crosscut sled to square the ends. Then I cut 2 pieces for the bottom and temporarily taped them together. And I ripped one long piece to 1 3/8 inches wide for the outer frame. And reduced that by 1/8 of an inch for the inner walls. I squared one end of the outside wall piece and cut 2 pieces to the length of the drawer bottom. Then I glued the wall pieces and clamped them to the bottom. I used a lot of clamps to make sure there's squeeze out all the way, which will ensure a strong glue joint. Then I let it dry for 30 minutes and removed the clamps. I cut 2 pieces for the short sides and glued those into place too. Once those had dried, I measured the inside of the frame and cut a piece that fits that. And then I cut 2 identical spacer blocks using a stop block. I measured the distance of the cross piece and cut 2 identical pieces using a stop block. Then I made several spacer blocks for the different compartments. These will allow me to evenly space the pieces so that they're parallel and I don't have to worry about really precise measurements because I've already done that with the spacer blocks. I glued one divider down using the other dividers and spacer blocks to keep things parallel, and I let that dry for 30 minutes. Then I set up spacer blocks and glued in the rest of the dividers, and made sure to get enough clamps so that each divider is firmly on the bottom of the drawer. Then I sanded the whole thing with 150 grit and then 220 grit and made sure to round off any sharp edges on the dividers. I ripped the support rails on the table saw to width and then I cut them to length. I decided to use a soap finish for this project because it's easy to apply and fast. It goes on pretty similar to a paste wax. You just wipe it on all the surfaces, leave it for a few minutes, and then wipe it off thoroughly. A spray-on poly would also be a good option, but I didn't have any, so I went with the soap finish. Then I treated the support rails with the soap finish, being careful to leave one side untreated, so that it would glue properly. I opened up the drawer and glued the untreated side with CA glue, also known as super glue, and I clamped it to the inside of the drawer. Then I did the other side as well. And the very last step was placing the insert in and filling it with silverware. It slides back and forth to reveal what's under it, and it saves a lot of space. This was a really fun project, so I plan on doing it with the rest of my drawers in unique configurations that fit the contents best. Thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe. Bye.